Hello, everybody. Welcome to the First Two Beers podcast. I'm Elliot,
I'm Chris.
and today we're going to give a little bit of TV talk.
TV talk. That should be our thing. TV talk.
TV talk. Dong.
It ain't HBO, it's just regular ass TV. So, what I've been watching, and by watching, I watched all in one night.
You
pretty
completed.
much. Yes. Was that new HBO series, or miniseries, The Defiant Ones?
4-part docuseries.
Yes.
Yeah.
About the friendship and business relationship of Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah, the rise of...
Yeah, it pretty much addresses their whole life to where they're at now and all the ups and downs they've gone through and what they've done in their careers and how they met and became friends and business partners. And it's really damn good.
I'll tell you this much, Chris. I also watched all 4 parts in 2 days. So, but still, yeah,
It's a long.
they're each an hour, so it's not...
The third one's an hour and a half.
Okay.
I hit pause once and I was like, oh, we still got a lot of time left on this bad boy.
But no, it's very interesting, yeah.
So if you're a music fan, let's just start there. Like, obviously Dr. Dre is a hip hop based producer and, you know, what have you, rapper is in that world. But Jimmy Iovine is was the head of Interscope Records and
He's
also
rock and roll.
Started as a audio engineer essentially
For Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, he worked with John Lennon, Bruce Springsteen.
And, Stevie Nicks.
Yeah,
So
like, he dated Stevie Nicks.
if you like any kind of music, most likely you're going to find some kind of way to get into this series.
Like, these two people have done a lot to enhance and change the music industry and business. And
Yeah.
they're very passionate about their jobs and what they did. They didn't take shortcuts. They didn't let BS slide through. Like, they've had some failures and they've had a lot of successes.
And they're also very raw and very honest in these interviews.
Yeah.
As are all their...
All the people they get that are like
all the people that have come across.
supporting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got, your Ice Cube, Eminem, Bruce Springsteen, as we said, Stevie
Tom
Nicks,
Petty.
Tom Petty. You got all these
Trent
people.
Reznor.
Eminem.
Yeah. You said him twice.
Oh, sorry. He deserved it. He deserved both mentions.
I will
His
say,
part was great.
personally, like, I did have goosebumps the entire Eminem part.
Yeah. But be warned, I mean, he comes at the end. You're going to have to wait
He's
till
in
part
part
4.
four.
You have to wait for part 4, but you're not waiting. I mean, you're not,
You're not
you're not getting antsy because it's
good. It goes.
yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
And I mean, personally, I didn't know nearly as much about Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah.
So
Well-
that part was completely fresh.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know a little bit more about Dr. Dre. Saw Straight Outta Compton, listened to that music a little bit more, so more familiar with that. But there's still things that
Was surprised you?
they're surprising or gave me a better knowledge of.
Yeah.
I feel like this gave me a better knowledge of the East versus West kind of
Well,
war
so
that was going on in hip hop.
I like lived through that. I was listening to hip hop since '93 when I was in 5th grade. So like when all that was going on, like, it was prominent, but even as listeners, we didn't, or I didn't at least, like, take it as serious as, like, I feel like the Source and music publications wanted us to. But when they were talking about it in this, I was like, oh, it was serious. Like,
Yeah.
they weren't BSing in that thing.
Well, and then I mean, once the bodies start dropping, you got to take it seriously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that was the thing, is like, once Tupac died and then once Biggie died,
Yeah.
you're like, holy crap, like,
This is for real.
So other people were taking this much more seriously. Like, it was kind of you're either on one side or the other. I like Tupac more than I like Biggie, vice versa. Just as hip hop fans, you kind of always fell into one of those categories. But just overall, you kind of were like, yeah, they're gonna be there. Like, and then when they died, you're like, holy crap, like,
This is
that was serious, I guess.
This is for real. And there's a scene in this where they show that award show. What's that award
It was
show?
the BET Awards.
Was it the BET?
No, it was the Source Awards.
Source Awards, yes.
The Source Awards. My bad.
And
When Suge Knight goes up there,
and gives a speech,
calls
and,
out Puff Daddy,
Yeah.
essentially, where
Yeah.
he's like, if you want your executive producer not to be in your record, not to be in your videos, dancing and stuff, not on your records, come to Death Row.
Oh, and it's great. And
That's been like
Puff Daddy's interviewed in this, so that's great. Suge Knight obviously is not because he's in jail.
He's in
right
jail
now.
like an idiot.
And they address that as well. They show. I mean, there's scenes where they show behind the scenes of them filming Straight Outta Compton, and
Where he ran over that guy.
yeah, for those of you who don't know, Suge Knight ran over, killed a crew member, I believe.
Yeah.
On the set of Straight Outta Compton. So that shows that this rivalry or this.
Well,
I know this wasn't East versus West, but this was just hostility between.
Well, that was just more of he'd already gone to jail and been in jail for 9 years. Obviously, him and Dre didn't get along.
And Suge Knight's put in a very negative portrayal, maybe truthful, probably truthful, but still very negative portrayal in Straight Outta Compton.
The thing, yeah, true.
In the movie.
The thing that surprised me about it was, even growing up during that, you always kind of felt like essentially Suge Knight was like the bad guy.
He was the crazy man?
Yeah. But in the Defiant Ones, when they talk about Jimmy Iovine and Suge Knight's friendship,
Yeah.
where they like he would come over and play football with them.
Oh,
like
I know.
all that surprised me that Jimmy Iovine, it seemed like
This,
for
like,
a little bit was kind of trying to mold Suge Knight, and then when Suge Knight turned into like
Too
crazy,
much of a thug, yeah.
Yeah, that's when he sort of kind of took Dre under his wing,
Yeah.
and was like, all right, I'm gonna work with Dr. Dre because he's a little more focused on
Yeah.
what they're supposed to be
He's
doing.
got more of a head on him.
Yeah, that part surprised me. I did not know that part.
Yeah, there's just so many moments like that in this series. Like you said, like the football games every Sunday at his house and all the celebrities that are there, and it's just these people that you would not expect to be as connected as they would be. Because this is like this skinny, scrawny little white Italian man, yeah, and then this dude from Compton, this black guy from Compton.
But they both worked their asses off.
And then, yeah, I mean, it all culminates in kind of the beginning and end of the documentary is about
The
Beats,
the
acquisition
sale
of Beats
by Apple.
for $3.2 billion, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is still insane to me.
Essentially makes Dr. Dre
The first hip hop billionaire,
Yeah.
right? And they show that in there.
Yeah, that's crazy that could be a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, all for some headphones.
Yeah.
I like the little speech or the little story Dre tells though when he kind of was given the idea
Mm-hmm.
when Jimmy Iovine comes up and sits on his porch and it was like, they're trying to get me to sell sneakers, man. I don't know nothing about speakers or sneakers.
Sneakers.
And Jimmy Iovine's like, yeah, you should sell speakers.
Yeah, he's like, you don't know sneakers, you know speakers.
Yeah, and then it was like, all right, see ya.
And they're like, and little did we know that was our multi-billion-dollar idea.
Yeah.
This was our empire that we didn't even know. We thought we had our empire, but no, this is
the actual.
this was going to bring us to the whole new level.
The director, Alan Hughes, I also like a lot. Him and his brother, Alan and Albert Hughes, did Menace to Society.
Yeah.
And they did From Hell, which was a way...
The Johnny Depp movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's
So,
the
Jack the Ripper.
Jack the Ripper, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Alan Hughes directed it, and it was really good. Like, the way he... So Jimmy Iovine signed Trent Reznor after, like, a year-long battle. Who then, obviously, Trent Reznor signs Marilyn Manson. But when they're, like, showing the footage of Marilyn Manson and Nine Inch Nails, it's, like, overlaid with, like, hip-hop music, like Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they're showing, like, the Tupac and rap stuff, it's, like, Marilyn Manson playing over it. Like, I like how they transpose the two musics over the visuals that you wouldn't expect.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that he did a really good job with that.
In a lot of ways, it's almost like a history of music for through like the 60s through the, I guess, now.
Nows.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, obviously you skip the real poppy stuff. You skip your NSYNCs and your Britney Spearses and stuff like that.
But I mean, even then he had
a lot of stuff is covered, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, you're right, is in there. So,
Interscope had a lot of people under their wing. Because I always heard old Jimmy Iovine's name, but to actually like get the background of what he did and why he's important, I just for a long time thought he was the guy who ran Interscope Records. He was the head. And
the first time I ever heard about Jimmy Iovine was I was watching American Idol, and in like the later seasons of American Idol, and they would bring him on to like coach the contestants.
Yeah.
Some weeks. And like they always be like this dude, and they named up all these people he was
everything
done.
he's done.
And I was like, this nerdy dude, like, come on. And then I watched this, I was like, All right, I have a whole new respect for this Jimmy Iovine. Like, for real.
In that thing, they talk about when, like, Napster came out. That's kind of when Jimmy Iovine was like, all right, so we got to shift from music to something else because this is going to not pay the bills anymore. Like, it's something, a change is coming that we need to get involved in.
And he literally did it at the perfect time. Like,
yeah.
Because everybody else, waited out a little too long, and they were like, you're losing all this money in the music business because no one's going to pay for it anymore.
He was a smart dude.
He was.
Smart dude putting his chips on old Dr. Dre, who was smart to put his chips on certain people. Same as, who did the music for it? One of the music directors for that show was Atticus Ross, who is the music producer friend of Trent Reznor's, who did Social Network.
Yeah, they composed Social Network and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, dude, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross.
Academy Award winner composers, I believe. So, yeah, they don't mess around.
He knew who to pick.
And it does a good job, too, of, I think it knows that a majority of its audience that's going to be watching this has probably seen, like, Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
So it does a good job of telling that story while not getting bogged down on it as much.
Right.
Like, Easy gets not nearly as much press in this as... he did in Straight Outta Compton.
Right.
And even when he dies, it's brushed over pretty quickly.
Straight Outta Compton, though, was essentially...
It's very focused.
More of the whole group. And not even, there's a lot that even happened that they talk about at the very beginning in episode 1 of Defiant Ones with, the guy who ran Eve After Dark.
Yeah,
he was, part of...
That's in Straight Outta Compton.
It is, but he's not part of the group. He's the guy who owns the place. And, you know what I mean? That's kind of glossed over, and they get a little more in depth in that in this.
And they show Dre in that purple doctor's suit and stuff. They never show that in Straight Outta Compton.
No.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in this.
In all honesty,
series.
It kind of fills in gaps that Straight Outta Compton would have had for people who would be like, wait a minute, oh okay, this will fill it in. But then
if Straight Outta Compton was a 4-hour movie, there could have been some of these scenes.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, what it made me want is a sequel to Straight Outta Compton. But obviously not called Straight Outta Compton 2, but something that maybe just follows Dr. Dre, because it ends with him starting
Aftermath,
and I would love to see a movie with him finding Eminem and that whole cycle and coming back together and making what the hell is it called? Chronic.
Oh, Chronic 2001.
Yeah.
Even at because they kind of show him making his newest album, Compton, in the Defiant Ones.
Yeah, they do. But yeah, there's a lot of story to be told there.
Oh yeah.
And actually, the reason I say this too, and probably bringing it Straight Outta Compton a lot, is because literally watched Straight Outta Compton after watching this. So
so here's something that for a long time
rewatched it, I should say.
Growing up, being a hip hop fan, I was unaware of until I was older. That is one of Dr. Dre's flops that they mentioned. So I bought his first Aftermath album, which isn't just a solo album. It's here's all my artists and they each have a song kind of thing.
Is this the one that they called the flop? In the Okay, in
so
Defiant Ones?
There's that one. And then he had the one called The Firm, which was actually Nas, who was in the documentary.
Which is also a flop, right?
Yeah. But it had 4 New York rappers produced by Dr. Dre. Now, I had heard The Firm when I was growing up, and I was always like, it's the New York rap. But just the fact that there was that East Coast, West Coast, the fact that Dr. Dre decided to go do a New York album with 4 New York rappers.
Cross streams.
Yeah. And then it was a flop. That hurt him a lot. He was definitely... And they kind of glossed over it in the Defiant Ones where I was like, wow, you didn't even bring up this whole East... You brought up the whole East Coast, West Coast thing, but then kind of gloss over the whole fact he went to New York to do this album. I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
It is interesting. I also thought it was interesting. What's the album that he kept people waiting on forever until he finally... Detox. And he's like, yeah, Detox not going to happen.
Yeah.
Nothing came out of that.
That's what's funny. He's such a perfectionist that he wanted Detox to sound like something, and then he starts filming Straight Outta Compton, and he gets all this inspiration, then he goes and makes the album Compton.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
I never really heard much about Compton, though.
I like it a lot.
But was it a big hit? I mean, I feel like it would be just because of the word of mouth from Straight Outta Compton. But.
So, I mean, in my opinion, with my group of friends that also listen to hip-hop, it kind of has mixed reviews. But I think tonally and from beginning to end, it is a good album. Like,
It doesn't really have a single on it, does it?
no,
Or at
because,
least
I
not
mean,
one that really took off.
No, because I mean, what? He wasn't. He didn't put it out for radio. Like, it was literally here's Compton.
It's more of a personal project.
Yeah, it's kind of like inspired by the movie and the final Dr. Dre album.
Cool.
Oh,
When they showed the creation of
Hi, my name is.
Hi, My Name Is, yeah. That's
me.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
I'm such a layman when it comes to this stuff. I didn't realize. I just always assume it's written before it's the backing is, before the beats are made.
Oh, so you're saying like you think they write lyrics?
Because sometimes they do, obviously.
Oh, they do. Like, well, how Eminem does it, or how he's said he does it, is he'll like be doing stuff and think of rhymes and like write them down, and he just has a notebook or like a bunch of scrap paper that just have like different rhymes he likes or something he thought of. And then when he hears beats, he kind of like takes those and melds them into a song.
Finds a way into them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's other people, like if you saw in this documentary, how Tupac does it, where he's like, put another beat up. And then he'll hear the beat and he'll sit there for a little bit. And then he'll write a song like as he goes.
Yeah. It just, and like the same thing with Fuck the Police, like
Yeah.
Ice Cube wrote that whole song first, right? And then.
Well, yeah, he wrote that. And,
And
then
then
they were like.
Let's make a beat for it?
Essentially, yeah.
See, I just thought that's how it was always done. I didn't realize it was kind of more of a...
Well, it's
more of a fluid process, which I like.
Well, because it's hard, like... Because you could write a rap in lyrics to essentially how you think it should sound, and then trying to find that right beat. It's a little more difficult. I think it's easier, in my opinion, to hear the beat and then be like, this is kind of how this beat's speaking to me of what I want to say. Like, is it a goofier beat? Is it a serious beat? This is how my song content is going to be.
I think just in general, the series gave me even more of a respect for the beats and the backing and stuff like that.
Well,
the importance of that.
What's nice about Dre is that he doesn't just necessarily make a beat on like a beat machine. He was like using real drums, real guitars. Like, no, you gotta do it like this. No, hit the snare like this. Like using real instruments.
I also liked how
to make his beats.
He was one of the first guys to take from the old to create the new. Take the old
he would sample
Motown music.
He was a sampler.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and that's what's funny is in that Defiant Ones, they were using like the sample songs for some of the soundtrack, and I was like, oh, that's where he got that beat from. Oh, okay.
So Defiant Ones, thumbs up from us. It's on HBO, on HBO Go. Give it a watch. I think you'd enjoy it.
That's a 10 thumbs up for this guy.
Oh, there you go. I don't know if I'd give it quite 10.
That's literally like up my alley.
Oh, I know. I'm still giving it. It's definitely like 9 thumbs for me. It's still.
I thought you were gonna go 7.9.
No, I'm not gonna go 7.9. I can it's quality. Like I can watch that. And I'm like, this is just really well made, and
yeah,
I like documentaries and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So that's up my alley too. That's first 2 beers. Little TV talk for you.
Yeah.
I'm Elliot.
What do you think about these? Chris.
Wait, no, go ahead. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
Let us know how you feel about our TV talks.
Yeah, because we can do more TV talks. We're not just one-trick movie ponies.
No, we seem to be, but we could do more.
We turn lots of tricks.
I'm Chris.
I'm Elliot.
Peace.